So we've had quite a few guys going off early in the NBA season so far. We got Kawhi Leonard going next level. We got DeMar DeRozan averaging 45 points a game. James Harden's averaging like 20 assists. Russell Westbrook is a madman. And I feel like Giannis Antetokounmpo's performance has been swept under the rug just a little bit. Just to tell you, in case you didn't know, because I didn't realize this when I Googled his name yesterday. He's currently putting up 23 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, while shooting 54% from the field, being the Bucks' new point guard. So Giannis is pretty much being as good as we thought he would be when we finally realized just how freakish his potential was. And he's been the catalyst for the Bucks, who are currently 4-2 at the moment. And I was watching the Pacers highlights to see what he was doing against, one of the best defenders in the NBA in Paul George. Giannis, to be honest, just kind of beat Paul George one-on-one a lot of times. There were moments when he would put himself in a pick and roll with Greg Monroe, and Paul George just wouldn't be able to stop him because Giannis is, the height, the quickness, but also just he's pretty damn smart with the ball as well. He and Monroe did a screen. It didn't initially work. They immediately re-screened, and then Indiana didn't have a way to defend it. There was another time where he just beat Paul George on a pump fake with about 7 seconds left on the shot clock, and he drove inside, and then he finished. Or maybe he kicked it out to someone. Something good happened. There was another time where he was working on Paul George one-on-one. He got him to about 15 feet or so, and then he just backed him down the rest of the way and hit a hook shot. This is the versatility that Giannis has. If you want to put a guy like Paul George on him who's... Look, if we're going to make a profile of somebody who can defend Giannis, it's probably Paul George. And if he still beats him, that's just damn impressive and pretty damn scary as well. And when I look at the entire Bucks offense at the moment, or just the entire Bucks team, who are now 4-2, their whole thing has been a lot of drive and kick. Giannis has been huge for it. But also, some of their pickups this offseason, one was Dellavedova, which he's been fantastic. He's putting up 10 points, 6 assists, 50% from the field, 41% from 3. He's like the ideal guard to start with Giannis because he doesn't need the ball in his hand. He can hit from outside. He's good defensively. But when Giannis is not in the game, he's averaging 6 assists. And I was watching the Bulls highlights, Dellavedova was in pick and rolls, he was getting inside, he dished it off to Jabari, who was chilling in the corner, he found himself in a fast break one time, he dumped it off to a big man. Dellavedova's been fantastic for the Bucks. That was a great signing for them, one of the more underrated signings of the season, if he can keep that up throughout the year, of course. And also their other signing, which I loved the moment they did it, was Teletovic, shooting 45% from 3 right now, taking about 4 a game. So they did a really good job of completing their roster with these two signings. The reason I was hesitant about them going into the season was because of the loss of Chris Middleton. I felt if he was in there, I definitely would have had him as a mid-tier playoff team in the East. Perhaps even higher with, how good Giannis could potentially be. But Rashad Vaughn has come in and he's actually stepped up. He's shooting 43% from 3, and he had one game against the Nets where he went 6 for 12. He had the last game against the Pacers, he went 4 for 8. But even in the games in between, he still made 1 a game. So he's making the defense respect him from 3. So even though it's not Chris Middleton, who can put up 16, 17, Rashad's shooting is still making it to where defenses have to respect him. And if they don't, he's going to knock it down, which creates more spacing for Giannis. And it's a lot of drive and kick. If it's not Giannis driving and kicking, apparently it's Dellavedova doing the same thing. Now, I also want to talk about Jabari Parker, who's putting up a very efficient 18 points a game. We're already seeing him taking that next step. What has he been putting up throughout his career? 13, he's up to 18 right now. He's already had a couple of 20-point games. He's been pretty much Jabari Parker, operating within the three-point line, posting up, getting inside, and I don't want to say he's hesitant, but he definitely... I feel like he prides himself on his efficiency. So he's occasionally not going to take the wild shot and perhaps go for a play that isn't really there. And that's good for the Bucks offense because he just doesn't take a lot of bad shots, but he is a guy who's shooting the ball a decent amount of time. I will say he's still not on board with shooting threes like that. He had one game where he went 4 for 6. I don't think he's hit a three-pointer in any other game. There was a play where he was wide open at the top of the key from 3 and Dellavedova hit him, and instead of just taking the three-pointer, he got it and he immediately went inside. Now, to be fair, he finished at the rim and he got a three-point play out of it, so he's very good at going at the basket. But if we're going to see Jabari get up to plus 20 points per game consistently, I think he's going to have to start shooting the three ball more. But still, an efficient 18 points per game is really good. So I think with the Bucks offense, it's a nutshell. It's Giannis and Dellavedova driving and kicking. And when Giannis drives and kicks, he can hit Dellavedova, he can hit Teletovic, he can hit Rashad Vaughn. They got a lot of good shooters. And then Jabari going one-on-one, but doing it efficiently. You know, he's not bogging down the offense too much, which is definitely a good thing. Now, as far as the center position is concerned, they've pretty much dropped Greg Monroe. He's still playing. He's putting up about 20 minutes a game. And they're really running with a center by committee thing at the moment. They're starting Miles Plumlee, but he's only playing about 15 minutes. John Henson's playing about 15 minutes, and then Monroe with the 20. Between those three, I personally like John Henson the best because he gives you the defense. The only thing is he does have a tendency to bog down offensively. But then again, all three of those guys are not guys that I would really want from an offensive standpoint because Monroe, yeah, he can score inside, but, you know, in today's NBA, the slow-footed back-to-the-basket center who doesn't play much defense or stretch the floor, it's not really a thing anymore, so I wouldn't really want Monroe. So I would rather have Plumlee or Henson. I mean, I might just play those guys 20-something minutes a game. I'm just not a big fan of Greg Monroe with where the NBA is right now. I have to imagine they would like to trade him, but it's not like teams are willing to give up wings in place of slow big men, so good luck with that one. But still, the Bucks have been very good. I mean, Giannis is, of course, the catalyst for it all because he's just a friggin' monster, able to beat Paul George one-on-one consistently, get inside, finish himself, or kick it out to someone. He's definitely got the shooters to kick out to with Dellavedova, Rashad Vaughn, Teletovic, and then, hell, if Jason Terry can get his shooting going as well, that'd be another guy. Jabari's doing well one-on-one, and if Jabari starts knocking down those threes or being willing to take them a bit more often, then it gives Giannis another guy to really drive and kick to. Because in the Pacers game, there was one moment where Giannis actually did force a little bit of help defense and he hit Jabari for a pass, but it was like a 15-footer. That sort of thing I don't think is going to be there consistently because if you're around 15 feet in, the defense doesn't really have much travel time to go back from playing help defense to getting to you, which is why the three-pointer is so valuable today. But still, Jabari's doing well. Again, I thought they were not going to make the playoffs because of Middleton's loss. That was the only reason. So if they're able to hold ground and then Middleton comes back, Bucks could be really damn scary. I also think they need to figure out this center position. Hell, if there's anybody who I would love to see Nerlens Noel end up on, it's this team right here. Because he seems like the perfect athletic defensive big man that they would need. I'm pretty sure there's no actual trade there, unless you want to give up Rashad Vaughn, which, hey, maybe, I don't know, once Middleton comes back. But still, the Bucks are really damn good. The free agent signings they've made have been fantastic, and Dellavedova, I mean, I can't think of every single free agent signing off the top of my head besides Kevin Durant at the moment. But if we rank like how the free agents have done so far, Dellavedova's got to be high up on the list, man. And I think that he is probably the perfect point guard for them. If you're going to have Giannis running the point forward position, I think Dellavedova fits in perfectly. I think if there is any other trade to make besides figuring out their center position, maybe it's getting a backup point guard. I have to imagine that with Giannis being the point forward and then Dellavedova who can handle the ball when Giannis is not in the game, you kind of have that figured out, but it is nice to have another guy who can be a go-to ball handler off the bench. But they're good, man. If they can just hold up until Middleton comes back, which is, to be honest, quite a while, they're good.